When people think about the ocean, they think about Disney movies and tropical vacations. However, what most people don't realize about the ocean is that miles within its depths, the entire backbone of the world's internet rests. So when people think of the internet, they probably have an image in their head of a router, a Wi-Fi logo, or a building with thousands of servers. And while the internet does flow through these channels, no pun intended, the internet is actually connected throughout the world by way of fiber optic cables. A fiber optic cable is a cable made from plastic or glass and can be thin as a human hair, and it was chosen because they can transmit bandwidth at long distances. Now, because so much of the world relies on these cables, they have to be made of the finest glass with no impurities. Each fiber optic strand represents traffic going opposite directions, so when they are manufactured in its protective cable, each pair represents traffic to or fro various locations. One cable can hold dozens of pairs. The protective cable is made by putting the optic fibers in a plastic tube, filling it with gel. Steel wires are then placed around the plastic, and then a layer of copper, and then finally it is placed in an insulated tube wrapped in nylon thread and coated in tar. The cable is made to withstand heavy currents, rock slides, earthquakes, sea life, and even anchors. A year of planning goes into where the cable's route will be in order to avoid these underwater hazards. So the cable is expected to last at least 25 years. A conveyor called the cable highway moves the cable directly onto a boat, which takes about a month. The ship will carry over 4,000 miles of cable weighing about 3,000 metric tons when fully loaded. When the cable is ready to be deployed, they float the ship as close as possible to the shore. The closer to the shoreline, the deeper they bury the cable, as not to interfere with surfers and swimmers. This is a grueling process that takes months. The ship only moves 6 miles per hour. Now you know how these cables work. I bet you're wondering, who decided in the first place to put these underwater cables into place? Cyrus Westfield and Samuel Morse, the inventor of the Morse code, were the first ones to decide that this would be a good idea. Morse invented the single-wire telegraph line and had been experimenting with one underwater telegraph circuit since 1842. He invested a lot of money into Cyrus Westfield's Atlantic Telegraph Company. The cable broke 3 times before it could successfully send a telegraph under the Atlantic Ocean, and it only lasted for a few months before it broke again. Fields had to wait for the Civil War to end for another cable to be laid in 1866. It wouldn't be till 1902 that the Pacific would get its own submarine cable, and it was built by the U.S. from Guam to the Philippines. These cables were obviously not as sophisticated as the ones we have today. There was an outer layer of iron with steel wire, Indian rubber, and polymer similar to rubber. However, these early cables suffered many attacks from sea life. These early cables also had a lot of bandwidth problems because they did not understand fully how to send information at such lengths. The telephone would not get its first underwater line and for decades even after its invention. Part in due because of the Great Depression and part in due because of technological disadvantages. But the first transatlantic telephone call from London to New York was made on March 7, 1926. The optical fiber technology that we use today was not invented until 1988 and was used by AT&T. It was from New Jersey to England to France. Currently, there are about 285 communication cables at the bottom of the ocean. Without the invention of this undersea cable, the world would be a much different place. It has connected us in ways never imagined. So next time you're on a boat near the ocean, swimming, whatever, just surfing the internet, just remember that there's millions of data running through that ocean right now, connecting all of us. Thank you.